Right up here at 12 o'clock, we have Crossy. He's known as Cross or Crossy. That's when I first met him, he was Crossy, so I don't know. That's why I call him that. And down here in the bottom right, it is Dragon. Again, two of the stronger players in NA. And you know, I was saying before, I was like, oh, I think that they're going to be able to, you know, one of these guys should probably advance. But we just saw from Father that you can't count him out right now. He was very close to killing Dragon. I think he made some amazing moves. And if he had just done reinforcing slightly differently, he definitely could have taken that game. So I'm excited. I hope that we can see his Terran vs. Zerg here today as well, which we'll definitely see unless Dragon wins every single game, which would be absolute insanity and a ton of money for him. All right, so the map is Neo Sylphid. This map is beloved by absolutely everyone. It is fantastically made. Of course, it has its trials and tribulations. There are some areas that are very hard to defend from various things, but the layout of the map is so cool. As you see, you just kind of have this natural base. This is a third base, but it's lower minerals and gas. It's not actually high ground. It just has like kind of a wall around it, so it can't be attacked so easily. Then you have the high ground bases. These are the only high grounds on the map. And then you also have a mineral only that's kind of near your natural expansion. Sylphid was a ladder map for a long time. It's been in a lot of tournaments. And like, I think every person I know, every good player I know loves Sylphid and thinks that this is an amazing map. So very glad to have it here. Thank you everyone for tuning in here today to Ascension. Hope that you're enjoying. Oh my god. Oh, he's gonna go 2-gate with 1 in the center. Okay, this is really tricky. I think I've only seen this like 1 time. Now look at this. So what's gonna happen, I think, is when Crossy gets down here, his overlords should dodge the center. And when he gets down here and sees that there's a gate, you just think it's a gateway expand, right? Oh my god, he's going 3-gate? Oh, I gotta add this to my scumbag Protoss repertoire. This is beautiful. Some full-on cheese coming out of Dragon. I love this, too, because he's actually, like... Dragon is a macro player, to be honest. I mean, I know the memes are real and I hate Protoss players, but, like, this guy plays pretty much just macro games from what I've seen. Here, though, he's being pretty cheesy against Crossy. He skipped his Stargate in the first game against Crossy, and here he is. Like, it looks like just a gateway expansion. But with the 2 gates in the center, Crossy's going to be caught way off guard unless he ends up seeing this. Now, the Zealots are coming down. Oh my god, Crossy's going to actually scout what's going on here. He sees a gate in the center. This is so important right now. Seeing that gateway, he's going to realize, oh, there's no Nexus coming. No Nexus coming at all. Is he going to see both? See Zealots popping out. Oh, it's going to be really interesting to see how he actually goes about trying to defend this as well. He looks like he'll start mining gas now. I think that's going to be for speed, probably only. All right, we'll get back onto all the vision here. But yeah, a Sunken is going to have to go down. He's going to have to make tons of lings. I don't think he can make any more drones, which is why I'm kind of surprised that we see the gas. Maybe that's like his, I need to not only stop this, but be able to kill you for doing it. All right, Zergling's coming out and actually engaging these Zealots. They're trying to put damage on the Sunken. A really smart move from Dragon. More come out. A couple drones being pulled here as well. Oh, and they actually target down the drone with the gas in its mouth. He's at 96 gas, so can't quite start. That was probably a slightly accidental pull. He probably tried to pull it just as he was getting that additional gas. But the Zergling's coming out to fight Zealots. As more Zealots come, though, they definitely have to come back. Okay, he's actually running around. He might want to threaten killing the pylon. But if he does that, we're going to see Dragon full-on attack. And here we go. He is going to get in here. The Zerglings have to come back to fight those Zealots. Drones being pulled as well. Oh my god, look at the damage Dragon is applying right now. We see a drone fall. The Sunken went down also. More lings hatching. And he's just putting so much damage out onto these Sunks. Crossy, no, there's no way for him to defend it at this point. What just a ridiculous cheese coming out of Dragon here. GG is called, and Dragon picks up another win. Dragon crushing some face right now. All right, here we go. In the top right of Eclipse, at just a one single map loss so far, it's Father. And in the bottom left, with 3-0, it's Dragon. Already guaranteed at least $175 for his efforts. See how they end up going here. Now, okay. It's a map where you generally see aggression from Protoss. And obviously we've seen Dragon be pretty darn aggressive today. Is he gonna run up and steal gas? Oh, did you see that probe? It started to come out and then turned around and went to mine. Okay, he just wanted to mine a little bit extra. Down goes the pile, and does he send it? Okay, so I think what we're gonna see is just an immediate gas steal. This should get there just before Father would be wanting to take his gas. There is counterplay to this, where you can do things like cancel an SCV and get your gas started. So we'll see what Father wants to do. I think, you know, once you get into the mid game, like once Terran has 3 bases on this map, I think it's a really good map for Terran versus Protoss. As far as balance goes, like you get a lot of really interesting army movements and cool battles around the map, a lot of different ways that it can go. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get to that point. Now, Father going to go ahead and just barely get the gas. So you can see he canceled the SCV, which allows him to actually make the gas. Okay, so Father has sacrificed a little bit of his economy. A lot of Terrans prefer this, to just get the gas up and say, screw it, you know, I want to I want to have a regular factory build. He sends the SCV out, but actually isn't scouting this location. We didn't see him scout over here. We didn't see him scout over here. So he doesn't have full intel that there's no proxy gate. Instead, he's opting for the quicker SCV scout. And of course, when he gets here and sees this gateway, he'll know that there isn't a proxy, just based on what he sees in the main base of Dragon. So it's a risk that you can take, which is totally fine. It's kind of a stylistic thing, whether or not you like to know right away. And you can see with Father's Sim City that he's doing one of these very, very strong ones that is quite anti-Zealot. We saw he has strong micro, so that probably has to do as well with why he skipped scouting some of these locations. Instead, he gets quicker intel on what's actually going on, as opposed to whether or not he's going to be rushed, because he already has the placement down, so that he's not really that afraid. Now, it looks like, yeah, he's just going to go for a factory expand here. Throwing down the bunker. Yeah, that's a very good time for that bunker. It's a very forward bunker here. In fact, this bunker is forward enough that you probably want to do a Dragoon dive in to check on the command center, because it's almost like too far forward. But of course, we can see not enough gas being mined. Father definitely going to be going for that command center. Barracks floating down to land. Let's check what Dragon is up to. Just range on the way. And, oh, I like the hidden SCV. It's hiding under a tree. Tree with fern leaves. Gonna be able to duck in there a little bit later and check out what's going on. Yeah, so Dragon gonna go for that Nexus right around the same time as we see the command center going up for Father. So very similar timed expansions. And now we get to see from Father, what does he like as a follow-up in this situation? So he's sending in this SCV, and this is great timing, because you're checking if the Nexus is not started by 4 minutes and 10 seconds to 4 minutes and 20 seconds, then it's a cheese and you have to make an engineering bay. But he sees it. It's pretty regularly timed. He's seen the Nexus as well as 2 Dragoons. Now, this Dragoon doing that check, like I said, this is so far forward, it's actually suspicious. So he checks, sees the command center. And Father has enough information that he can kind of just do whichever build he would like here. And he's actually popping out a Vulture first. Now, the fact that he's just sitting it there... Okay, he is going to run it by. Dragon, I think, didn't see that. He was probably heavily microing this Dragoon to chase the SCV. So very well timed from Father. And we're going to see if this is speed or mines. It absolutely could be either. Speed is kind of like a very meta build. You don't see it very often as the first upgrade with a factory expansion. But it actually catches very good players off guard because it is so rare. Instead, he does get mines. Going to be able to lay mines here. This might actually end up trapping this Dragoon. So this Vulture was coming back to lay some mines here, I think. Yeah, to try to catch this Dragoon running back. The Dragoon already ran back, though, so looks like it's going to run into a single mine and barely not die. Yeah, there it goes. This Vulture getting up to this third base. Beautiful move there. Takes the shots from the Dragoon to ensure the mine can burrow and gets back. Good execution thus far. And look at that. A starport coming down for Father. Now, we don't see an academy here. So, yeah, I guess that's actually fine based on what he's scouted so far, and he has mines out. So it's like, if your opponent went DT here and, like, happened to walk to your base without going through any mines, okay, you're going to take a loss. But should be feeling pretty safe overall. I wonder if this is speed or this is siege mode on the way. Speed is better for the drop, but yeah, I would imagine that it's actually going to be the speed upgrade. It would be very weird to go for siege so quickly. Like, your mines are going to slow him down quite a bit. Now, the Observer coming over, he's going to be able to clear out this third base location. And of course, this is kind of the nice thing about Father's build. The Observer is flying around and taking care of mines. He's got to clear all the mines out of the area, which means the Observer can't get to his base quickly enough to see the dropship. So basically what we should see is probably the dropship will fly this way and in, and the Observer is not going to see it. The Observer is going to see the starport right around the same time that the dropship gets to the main base. Very well timed out from Father. I think some good execution here. He is sending Observer straight up. Speed Vulture's running down. Now let's look at the placement. See this? Dragon is on top of this. He knows exactly what type of strategies can come at what time. He's got this fully walled so you can't run Vultures in. And he's got these here to catch any dropships flying in. Now here comes this dropship. Father might be in some trouble. Drops one off. Okay, another off here. These three Dragoons moved out of position. He gets all four Vultures off. But yeah, he's not really going to get damage done. Very, very little. Like a couple probes. He gets some scouting as to what's going on. He sees the Stargate. Oh, and he actually runs some in the front. Okay, okay. Father making the best of a bad situation here. Ends up killing, what was it? Maybe 5 probes. He's also slowed the speed of the third base. And he saw the Stargate. This is actually kind of a funny, almost counterintuitive thing that you see. I guess it's not really that counterintuitive, but a lot of Protoss players like to counter dropship with carriers. So why would carriers be the counter to dropship? Well, anytime you go dropship, it slows out your maxed timing pushes quite a bit. To get this is like a starport basically costs about the same as a factory, and so does the dropship, right? So it's like 150 gas and then another 100 gas. So that's like almost 3 factories worth of gas. Plus you're making Vultures early instead of tanks. So your actual push comes later, which makes the carriers a bit stronger. So kind of a cool choice here from Dragon. Probably something Father has seen before. Now, gets in here and slows us down a bit more. Father going for 4 factories into the command center. After you go dropship, it's very common to get at least 3 factories to 5 factories because you're so low on units. Kind of like what we were talking about in Father's other game as well. You've spent so much of your money on the dropship and early Vultures, and your factories are all delayed as well. So you just kind of have to get more. Now, unfortunately for Father, he is not going to have an attack for a very long time. Like, his build is good, but there's going to be a lot of carriers out by the time he can attack. right? He's making his third CC. He's going to have to push out, get this set up. Honestly, Dragon's not going to slow him down. He's just going to sit back. Dragon is playing a very mathematical game right now. He saw what his opponent's doing. He's doing what is, in my opinion, the hardest thing to counter with the starport opener. And Father is like just playing a little bit blind, right? He doesn't get that intel. Like he cut a lot of corners, including the academy. So he's basically, I guess he saw the Stargate, which can tell him, but he also made the command center, which makes me think he might have thought it was Arbiter or something, if that makes sense, right? Because if it is Carrier, I don't think you want to go third command center. I think instead what you want is to just go like 7 factories and push with missile turrets, like a missile turret siege tank vulture push. Anyways, we'll see what Father is up to. Throwing down his depots, getting more facts. He's got to transfer over pretty soon. Dragon, in the meantime, just producing pretty steadily off of his 4 gateways, building up that Dragoon count. Reasonable spread here from Father. Kind of an interesting position that he's taken. There's no buildable terrain beyond, like, right about here. So you can't really have turrets to guard these. He does have a couple Goliaths, though. He's quick. Has a turret up here on the high ground. I like that placement. And now Dragon, I mean, he's just clearing the map a little bit. He's got his Observer, his Dragoons. Probe coming over. And this is one of the most important things if you're a carrier player on this map. If you're going to go carriers, you want this base. Or this base, or both of the bases. Basically, carriers guarding a high ground expansion that has a pylon wall and cannons, and maybe eventually High Templars. It's basically unbreakable. It's so cost efficient for Protoss that a lot of the times you can actually go around. It's easier to kill the main base for Protoss than one of these bases. So I love that Dragon's getting ready to take over here. He's just standing in like a forward position. Again, I don't think he's going to attack or anything. It looks like he assumes that Father knows exactly what's up, so he's going to just fly over with these carriers and start some harassment. Get that armory at the natural. Third gas is already up for Father, so that is a nice thing about taking that third. He can really produce a lot of Goliaths. His macro looking strong right now. Look at those supplies. He's actually out-supplying Dragon. I don't think that that's something that would, like, super surprise Dragon here. And, like, as far as ground armies go, the ground army here of Father is way better than what Dragon has. But the carriers are going to screw up the math. Now, look at this. He's taking the fight here on the high ground. The low ground units for Father going to be an issue. Drops those zealots on top of the siege tanks, but the tanks are splattering these Dragoons. Look at that. So efficient. Dragon, I think, not pulling back quite quickly enough. That was a great engagement for Father. Now, he needs to pull these tanks back so he doesn't lose them. Get them behind those turrets. Goliath's coming out to push everything back. Goliath range actually hasn't been made and isn't on the way right now, so a little bit of a mistake there. Still has a reasonable amount of tanks. The 7 tanks looking good. Not some great mining here. Looks like he kind of stacked all his SCVs. A lot of Goliaths being made. Trying to get these vultures over. Man, it would be so good if he had a dropship right now. Drop a couple tanks up here. You can see he's trying to force some vultures over, having a hard time. A lot of multitasking going on right now. More units coming up from Dragon. As those carriers continuing to harass. You can see no range, man. Okay, he finally starts the range. Now, unfortunately, Goliath range is the longest upgrade of all the mech upgrades. It's 84 seconds compared to 50 seconds for Siege and Mines and 63 for Vulture speed. So it takes a long time, man. It's basically a minute and a half to get your Goliath range, which is an issue. Now, he's targeting down this armory, which is such a pain in the butt for a Terran player. You do not want your upgrades going away. +2 attack and +1 armor are so important when fighting carriers. Now, it looks like he did actually end up busting up. Gonna do a bit of damage here with the Vultures. Has a very good factory count right now. 8 facts up. Having a hard time mining from this base, unfortunately. Still just the 7 tanks. You know, one thing to mention, when you're fighting against... Oh my god, he actually got a lot of the probes here. Look at that, only 6 probes left over. But when you're fighting against a carrier player, one thing you got to make sure is not that you don't overmake Goliaths. So you don't want to lose the ground fight. You want to have enough tanks that you actually splatter their ground army, and then enough Goliaths so that you can kill off the interceptors and carriers. Which, I mean, obviously easier said than done. But he didn't make any tanks since the initial battle. So really focusing all of his expenditure on these Goliaths. Finally does have that range upgrade done. Starting to push everything back. Great unsieged tank here. Actually eliminates Dragon's army. So Dragon, what does Dragon have? Okay, he has one group of army here. And 6 carriers total. He actually doesn't have any upgrades for the carriers. No +1. That's actually a little bit surprising. I think that he just forgot that. That's like something that you always get no matter what. It gives +8 damage to carriers, so it's an insane upgrade. Okay, targeting down some of these siege tanks. +2 attack is done, so Father can take a reasonably good fight. Now, some of these tanks are technically on low ground, so can miss some of these shots. And Father actually just GG's. Feels like maybe just slightly premature, but GG's out of there. And yeah, Dragon gonna take another map. All right.